Welcome back to another episode of Mimi's Musings podcast. I'm your host Gungo Mildred, and I'm so happy that you've joined me on another Saturday for another special episode. On today's episode, I'm going to tell you a little story of my first love, and how it ended and everything. It was just crazy. So when I say my first love, please, I'm using this term love very, very loosely because I was very, very young. I was a child, okay? So please do not take it so seriously. Do not say, oh my God, she was in love and everything. I wasn't. But it's just that feeling you get, like you think you're in love with this person and because you like them so much. And yeah, so that is the story I'm going to tell you. I told you topics zinaisha, so tafadhali tell me what I can talk about, okay? Or tell me a story. Actually share with me your stories. You can DM me on Instagram, and if you have my number, you can, tell me over there. Just tell me whatever story you want me to talk about. Or maybe I should give you my email so that you can send me stories over there. Nikwe kama mkurugenzi. But anyway, I don't have enough followers for that to happen. But please do, because I need some content. And I don't know where I'm going to get more stories from. But anyway, the way this life is, as long as you're alive, there are things that are happening. And because of social media, I'm always going to sort of have something to talk about. But yeah, I hope that it entertains you and it keeps you coming back, and that you won't get tired of my voice, that you won't get tired of watching or listening or whatever, because I know mine is audio. I don't do video and stuff, so you won't see me with makeup or without makeup or with puffy eyes or whatever. But please continue enjoying. By the time I'm recording this, we're at 31 subscribers. So I hope that by the time it comes out, watakuwa muongezeka. I'm still hoping to get to 50. Then we get to 100, and then more and more and more. And then finally be able to monetize this, okay? So please, please, please don't give up on me. Don't give up on watching. As I always say, tell your friend to tell their friend, tell your brother to tell your sister, to tell whoever to please subscribe and please share. By the way, when you share on your platforms, just help me. Share it on your platforms. Like, when you watch it, just click on the share button down below and then share it to your Facebook. Let your people also, like your followers, also see and ask them to come and follow this and support a sister tafadhalini, okay? Maybe that will be able to grow. Anyway, my first love, I'm not going to use his name. I don't know. The people that I went to school with, if they hear this, they might know who he is. I know his name, but I will not use it. What name can I use? Let's say Luke. Luke, like Luke wa Gilmore Girls, okay? So we're going to use Luke. So, I think I've told a little bit of this story. Parts of this story, you might remember them from previous stories. So, bear with me. But yeah, I just want to tell his story from the first to the end, because I don't think he really broke my heart. Because as I said, I wasn't in love with him, not at all. Like, from when we were kids until when we met up again as adults, I don't think I was ever in love with him. And he never gave me the chance to like fall in love with him enough for him to break my heart. So yeah, there's that. So I'm going to call him Luke. When I was in class 7, I believe, yeah, my best friends and I, so I had these 2 best friends. Can I use their names? I think I can use their names, because they're the only people who will remember all of these things, okay? Like, if we're in the same school, you'll remember who it was, so there's no problem. But because he's now a grown man and has a wife and children, I can't use his name. But for my friends, I can. So I had these best friends in primary school. So that is Eunice and Sylvia. In class 7, I was so closed off because, as I said, terrible childhood. Okay, not like terrible, but traumatizing childhood. There's some things that had happened to me as a child, and I had selective amnesia. But the thing is, even if you have selective amnesia, your body remembers. So there are a lot of things that would happen around me and I would react to them. So I had changed a lot. But again, as I said before, people just didn't recognize me changing. They thought, anakuwa mkubwa, so amekuwa kichwa ngumu, anaona ameanza sijui kumea matiti, oh blah blah blah. And they will say these things loudly and I will hear them. So I was reserved apart from when I was with my friends. Yeah, so Sylvia liked this guy, liked Luke. And actually, I don't even think at first she did. Or maybe she did and she said it, I don't know. Because I don't remember why we started kumchokoza with Luke. Because it would be like, you know that song of na 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 sitting on a tree, KISSYOU, that thing. We did a version of that. So it will be all the time, oh, Sylvia, and I look, oh, look, I'm a Peter, oh, look. And he was cute as a kid. He looked like Asha Raymond, my God. And those times, Asha Raymond, oh my God. I think he was one of my first crushes as a kid. I just didn't know what it was that I felt when I saw him. But yeah, so he looked like Asha Raymond back then. And Asha is still handsome, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, he looked like Asha Raymond. And like, I don't know, all of us kept just taunting her and telling her, oh, ona look amepita, ona look amefanya, oh look, oh look, oh look. And I think through that she started liking the guy, the kid. They were kids, we were all kids. And so she started liking him. And I was honestly happy for her. I was. And so was my friend Eunice. But then in class 7, I was in class 7 and he was in class 6. I think I've told this part before. We were sort of age mates. Amma, he was a little bit older than me, but he had been forced to repeat. Because I doubt that he's younger than me. Because at the time I was age mates with a lot of the kids in his class. Nivle, they had been forced to repeat by their parents. Lile, sijui like wanasoma mbio sana manini. They weren't dumb or anything. They had just been forced to repeat a class. And so a lot of the kids in their class, in class 6, were my age mates. There were people who were supposed to be in class 7 with me. But anyway, so where we used to school, like the class 6, 7, and 8 were on the same block. So kuna hizi stairs zilikuwa hapo mwisho and then unazipanda, then class 6, 7, and 8. And so we would stay outside the classroom talking. Each period after lunch, we will be out there just talking. We're not supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be in class before 2 p.m. to continue with the lessons. We were supposed to be revising and doing maybe a homework or whatever, but they even introduced for us to be doing mathematics at that time. But people would just waste time up. During lunchtime, during break time, because we had a short break and a long break. So short break, watu wangeenda tulu and they come back. Long break, if you don't have anything to eat, ama pesa kwenda canteen, you'll be outside your class. Boys will go to the field and kick the ball around for a while. Then they come back. But ultimately, like, we will always end up at the corridor talking. And so we would always pass by these kids and he knew that we were taunting Sylvia with him. And he also knew that we all liked him for her or something like that. Then our class prefect was best friends with him. Oh my God. So John being best friends with Luke, he was also part of this thing. So it wasn't just Eunice and myself and Sylvia. It was also John was involved and it was some other people from our class as well. But because she was our best friend, it was sort of focused on us. Yeah, so we continued doing this. And then tukafika time kwa tunafunga shule. Tukifunga shule third term in class 7. So I was going to class 8, he was going to class 7. So I think ni third term. After closing day, we would wash the entire school. So tukishamaliza exams ile tunafunga kesho, today like we would wash the whole school, clean our classes, clean the corridors, and then the next day we'll come back and just go to the parade, come back, be given our report cards, and then we go home. That is all that used to happen. So hii siku ya kuosha classes, we had finished and we were sat outside the corridors, some people in the classrooms. And then where class 6 was, there's a little platform where the stairs were. So above the stairs, there was a little platform where these boys could sit. and talk and, look at girls whenever they were going down the stairs or up the stairs. Like, it was crazy. We were children, but these boys were acting like they were adults. Most of them had older brothers and stuff, so maybe they had learned these things from them or something like that. I don't know where they'd gotten it from, honestly, but they used to behave like little grown men. So whenever we'll pass there, they'll be checking us out. And most girls will be like, but remember, I was so reserved at this time. I had friends from home, like boys who are my friends, the ones that I grew up with, went to school with all the time, came back home with. But then at the school, very selective. And so this day, I don't know, we were taunting Sylvia. And then we were like, okay, nenda kumwambie nimwambie umemsalimia or something. It was something stupid like that. And they were like, pana. You just know how little girls talk. Because at that time we were in class 7, I was 12 years old. Yeah. So ile ati hapana usimwambie nini nini and all of that. But I was like, no, I'm going to tell him that you like him and that he can come and talk to you or something. And so Sylvia smiles and giggles and everything, and Eunice is there doing the same stupidity. And so I go, it says stupidity with love, by the way. See, I'm not insulting them. So I go where the guys were, because I remember John was there and so was Luke and a couple of other guys, I think from their class. And so I pretend to be passing, and then they talk to me and I go like, oh, by the way, do you know what? Sylvia likes you. This little boy looks at me and he goes like, I don't like her. And I go like, what? He goes like, yeah, I like you. What? I was actually like, what? And I'm like, Ati? No, but it's not me, it's her. And he goes like, I know, but I don't like her. I like you. And yeah, so sorry, Sylvia. So he does this, and I think it did something to me. I'll tell you why. The reason I responded positively towards what he said is because, as I said, a lot of things had been happening to me and I was suppressing them. But then actually hearing a guy, I know he was a child, but he was a male child. Actually hearing a male child tell me that he likes me and that he was choosing me instead of somebody else. I don't know. I think I should discuss this with my therapist the time I get money to go back to therapy. Because tunafaa kuchambua why it did that. It felt good. It felt calming. I don't know what it did to my psyche, but it sort of broke something. And it opened me up for, I don't know what I can call it, but it did something very positive inside me, within me. And I remember just smiling and not knowing what to go and tell Sylvia. So he goes like, yeah, I like you. And by this time, I was going to Catholic church with my friends from home because all of them were Catholic, and I'm a member of the Friends Church. And my grandmother used to go to the Friends Church. And at this age, nile unaenda church unabaki kanisa ni boring. I just want to go where my friends are. Catholic, you know it. Ni boring deal, but boring in a good way. It's a church, so it's a boring in a good way. But my friends were there, so I'm with them. And this boy, Luke, was he was an altar boy. And so we'll go to church and we'll see him. And I would always say hi because we were from the same school. But I never thought of him that way. And I don't even know that I knew what that way meant at that time. But all I know is that he gave me peace when he said that. And I think that is what I gave back. So I go back to my friend. I'm feeling giddy on the inside, but I can't tell my friends what he has said. So I just laugh, and I don't remember what I told Sylvia, but that's how things were changed. The constitution, the constitution was changed even too. So the next day was closing day. He kept smiling at me and he kept checking me. When I tell you that these little boys are behaving like men, it's because I've known how men look at women right now as an adult. So imagine a child, okay, not imagine because that will be wrong, but at that time, him looking at me, because sometimes I remember such moments and I just laugh to myself because the way they were behaving, I was like, enyewe hii kitu inakuanga tu kwa damu ya vijana, because no. So he would look at me, he would stare me down sometimes and all of these things. But anyway, tukakuja tukafunga shule, we went home. December, before he traveled to the village for Christmas, I would go to church on Sundays. And kuna hii part ya Catholic church where tutakiane amani, so you go, even the altar boys and the priest, they come from the altar and they come and shake people's hands and stuff. He will shake my hand and laugh and giggle and nini nini, just make me laugh. And yo, when he was sitting at the front, he will stare at me. And I'm looking at him, and my friends and I were discussing it, that he's staring, and we were laughing. So I ended up having to tell Eunice the truth. Because with her, we lived in the same compound, even though during, like, they lived somewhere else, but she was cousins with people that we lived with in the same compound. So she will come to visit often. And I think I actually told her on our way home that day, but I told her not to tell Sylvia, which was wrong, I know. But yeah, I told her, like, this is what he said when I told him that. And remember, John was there, so John knows as well. It's not just me, it's John, it's Luke, and it's other people who were there who knew what was happening anyway. So yeah, he finally goes to the village. I don't think we went anywhere for Christmas. And then January comes and we go back to school. And this boy came na ile missment yote ya nyameni miss. Yo, he did not hide it. He did not try to pretend. He was like, I like you and I'm going to show you that I like you. So I know you guys pretend and you laugh with Sylvia and you tell her blah, 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 but I'm not going to do that game. And he was on me. Like, it was crazy. We used to spend so much time talking and I don't even remember what we used to say to each other. I don't even remember our conversations. But I just remember that it used to be such long conversations, talking about nothing, talking about nonsense. You know, things that children can talk about. Because we weren't adults, we don't even know what we're talking about. Until one day, as we were going home, because we never like kissed or hugged or things like those, yeah. But then later on, I think we started hugging, especially like at church when we were saying goodbye. Because we'll go to church, I laugh after kanisa, he will make sure he goes and changes from his altar boy clothes and then come give us a push for a little bit and then hug us because he will have to go home with his older brother and stuff. So this one time we were going home in the evening. I don't know why it was just the two of us at this day. I don't know what we had remained back doing. I don't really remember what was happening. But as we were going home, as I said, I've told this story before. Tukafika mali, we were supposed to part ways. And he was going like on the right side. I was going to the left side. And he hugged me. Teachers were in the staff room and they saw this. My class teacher and his class teacher. I've spoken about this during the teachers episode. So the next day I come to school and I'm told to go and kneel in the staff room and I find him kneeling there. And they told us nonsense, these teachers. They spoke down at us and they told us all of these terrible things. And of course, they threatened girls with getting pregnant and they threatened boys with I don't know what. The boy will not be there for the responsibility, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that is even the last thing on my mind. I'm not even there. Yesterday was the first time we ever hugged. And I know the first time trickled down to the second, third, fourth, fifth. But still, there is a better way that these women could have spoken to us as kids. But the way they did, I will never appreciate it. I never did as a kid, and I do not do it as an adult. Because they were wrong how they talked to us. But anyway, the only thing that managed to do was for us to stop hugging at school or anywhere near the school. But we'll hug at church. Whenever we meet out there, we'll hug. But that's as far as it went. So my friendship with Sylvia took a deep dive. Oh my God. She didn't like me for some time. She just didn't like me. She hated me. I was in class 8. She was in class 8 with me. She wouldn't talk to me. I felt bad. I didn't know how to explain to her what look meant to me and that feeling that I had whenever I was with him and the words that he had said to me and what they meant. I tried to explain to her that this is what he said. He said he likes me, not you. So, and I know as an adult that's wrong. I know. But as a kid, I just didn't know. He had healed a little bit of me as a kid. And he didn't even know that. I think I've said this as well before. So he just didn't know, but he had. And because of that, I was holding on to him so much. Then he transferred. We closed schools in April. And I remember telling my sister, I don't think my sister remembers this, but we met at that time. I don't remember tulikuwa Ushago ama alikuja Nairobi, but I remember talking to my sister about this. She's the one that I told, like, oh my God, I like him so much, blah, blah, blah. But of course, I told that to Eunice as well because she was my BFF. And yeah, I liked him in a way that children can like each other in that way. I don't know. But then we come back for second term in May and he's not in school. And I asked John, because John is best friends with him and they sort of lived around the same neighborhood. And I'm like, where is he? Where is Luke? And he's like, I don't know. I haven't seen him. I'll ask his brother. And then I will never forget. And I hate this day, May 11th, because that was not the first time I suffered heartbreak. Like when I was a kid, May 11th also is the day that my best friend died as an adult. So yeah, I don't like that day. So I'm in school, and there was a way where our class was, I could see him walking to the school every day in the morning. Whenever I would arrive to school before him, I will see him walking and coming and entering the gate and stuff. I waited for that to happen for an entire week. He did not. Then finally, I think it was on a Friday that John came and told me that actually they transferred. So there was this girl who was in our school. She had been there the previous year in class 8, Nelly. And so John asked her, because he couldn't find the brother or him. So he asked Nelly, and Nelly, they lived in the same compound. And so Nelly was like, yeah, they transferred. The dad was shifted. Ni walikuwa nafanya hizi kazi za presidential escort. So he moved from where they used to live and they were taken to a different place. And so the children were transferred. Yo. I have never cried the way I cried like that day. I cried for this boy. I cried. I remember going home all sad and brokenhearted. Again, nobody in my house knew that I was going through all of these things, through this heartbreak, because this was technically my first heartbreak ever, and nobody in my house knew. I was there crying. I was laying under the bed and I was crying, singing all these Mariah Carey songs. How do I live? How do I breathe without you? I sang Westlife, yo. I sang all these songs. And I was singing them in my head because I couldn't sing them out loud and cry. Because my aunt would have definitely been like, unalilia nani, unalia juu ya nini? So I couldn't explain. How was I supposed to explain to anybody about this? So I didn't, but then that's when I had I always knew I wanted to write, and I hope I get back to it, oh God. And that is when I had the idea to write my first story. So the first novel I ever wrote, which has not been produced or printed or anything, was about him. It was called The Second Meeting. I still have it written, handwritten somewhere. And that's when I wrote it. The second meeting is about him, meeting him again after we're all grown and, we met, I don't know, in the US doing a musical academy or something. It was crazy. But yeah, we met as adults. The second meeting, that's when I thought about it and I started writing it, by the way. I didn't finish. I continued writing it in Form 1, and then if you remember from the teacher's episode, my teacher confiscated that book, but then I wrote it now in full while I was in Form 2, the second meeting. Maybe I'll write the whole story on my blog because it will be just transferring the story from the book to the laptop and then put it up. It's not like me thinking about a new story. So maybe I can do that and you guys can read it. It's a good, but it's written from a child's perspective. So because I was 15 in Form 2, so you can imagine, like, but that was my first novel ever. And he's the one who inspired it. So see, he was healing me in very many different ways. That he didn't even know. So yeah, it inspired me to write that story. And so he transferred. Anyway, my friendship with Sylvia recovered because now he was no longer there. And yeah, we became friends again and he had left. Now, I wrote this story in Form 2 and I moved on. Fast forward to after high school, I've joined Facebook. This was in college. I think I've joined Facebook after college when I first got my personal phone, the one that I bought for myself, I think that's when I finally joined Facebook. So after I did, I started reconnecting with all of these friends from primary school, from high school, and all of these places. And I reconnected with John. I was looking for his name, but he wasn't. The way he calls himself on Facebook is not his real name. So he wasn't Luke so and so. He was using pseudonyms and his nickname and stuff. But John was using his real name, first and second. So I found him, reconnected with him, started talking to him, chatting with him, and I asked him, "Oh, by the way, where is Luke? Do you have his number?" And he was like, "No, but he's talked to the brother." I was like, "Okay, can you look for his number and you give me? Because I really want to talk to him. Or you can give my number to him." And he was like, "Okay, let me look for the brother first, talk to him, and then I can ask Luke if he wants to reconnect." And then I was like, "Okay, sawa sawa." So I waited for a little bit. This was after college. And then I got the number. So finally, John responds and he's like, "Here's his number." I was like, "Okay." I gave him mine and I was like, "Give him my number. Let him be the one to call me." And he did. And we reconnected and we talked. And I was so happy because like it has been years since I was in class 8 and he was in class 7. And now I've finished college and that's when we are reconnecting. So I wasn't trying to leave out my book, like the second meeting, because we weren't in the US and I was not a musician or anything in the music industry. So that wasn't it. But I just want to reconnect with him, even if not at the capacity of boyfriend and girlfriend, but just as a friend, because he meant something to me when I was a kid. And so he reached out and we talked and we agreed to meet in town. I go to town. We met at this place, this Roomba house inaitwa aje, near the old Tuskys Pioneer. Hapo the next building, there's that club that's there. I don't know what it's called. They love playing rumba. Hapo ni Nairobi Cinema ama Kenya Cinema. Hapo. I don't know what is up there. Hapo hiyo restaurant iko hapo juu. It's a restaurant but they play rumba at night. Ama pia ni restaurant plus club. I don't know. There. We met downstairs, outside there. I remember seeing him for the first time. One, he's still handsome. Let me not take that away from him. But he no longer looked like Usher Raymond. And I know it's a very little thing, but yeah, he didn't. He had grown into himself. And so he was still a handsome guy and everything. We hug, we go upstairs, we sit down. I think I only had a glass of juice because this thing I was taught by my grandma: do not go out if you do not have your own money. And I was either going to eat fries, I might drink the juice with my own money. So when he asked me what I wanted to have, and I knew he's still a boy, like akona pesa. Okay, he was an adult, so he might have been 21 or 22 or 20, depending on how old he is. I don't know. I won't lie. So I was like, early 20s, you don't have like a job. So I don't know. But yeah, so I just ordered a glass of juice, mango juice, I think. We sat down, we talked, we caught up and everything. And you're like, "Yeah, I want to see you again." I was like, "Yeah, me too. I want to see you again." And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to invite you to my place. Come and visit me." And I was like, "Okay, sawa sawa." Couple of days passed by and then I go to visit him. He had come from work. He came, he met me, and he took me to this house. Now, I didn't know that this was at his house. And this is where like he started messing up. Because I didn't know that this wasn't his house. He could have taken me literally anywhere and I would have been okay. He would have taken me where he used to stay with his family and I would have been fine. But he chose to lie to me. And that is no way to start a friendship or a relationship. That is just no way to do it. So I go to this house, it's a 2 bedroom, and he tells me he lives there with his friend and they rent it. And it was a beautiful 2 bedroom in Langata. Very nice. And if you know anything about Langata, is that the houses there are very expensive. So a 2 bedroom and he has a roommate. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. He was working somewhere and I was like, okay, that's good. And he took me for a tour. He showed me that this is where I sleep, this is where my best friend sleeps. We go to the kitchen, we talk, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, sawa, sawa. He gives me a kiss that day. And this is where it gets tough or tougher because you remember that guy I told you about his oral health? He is the guy. weakest, because I wanted to know how it would have felt like. Really too curiosity. And Luke does not brush his teeth. Apparently, because watu kama hao, si lazima wa brush meno zao. They're always okay. And I felt so disgusted because I had this image of him in my mind. As much as I was growing up and I was doing all of these things, developing, blah, 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 at the back of my mind, I had an image of him also growing and maturing on the other side, wherever he was. And so when I met him again, the way we were talking, we vibed. And now we were talking at, a young adult point of view. And I thought we were flowing and everything. So I wanted him to kiss me, yes. But then we did. And it was terrible. And I'm sorry to say this here, but it was. It was. And it's because he didn't like brushing his teeth. But I hope you changed. Look, Ukisikia story, hope you changed. But anyway, he tells me, okay, this is where I live, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So we agreed to meet again another day. And this time, even as I go home, in my mind, I'm telling myself how I'm going to come back and tell him how to learn to brush his teeth. How can I start that conversation, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm a straight shooter. I'm the kind of person ukinikanyaga mguu nitakwambia, hey, mbona umenikanyaga mguu tuionge. Kama ni mimi nikukanyaga nitakukanyaga na nikwambie pole. Is a bro. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Let's talk about it, iishe. So if there's something like that and it's disturbing me, because I was like, this guy has asked me to be his girlfriend. By the way, he had already. And I'm like, if I'm supposed to be his girlfriend, there's no way I'm kissing him again without telling him to brush his teeth. Like, then brush the tongue as well, because no. We agree on a day to meet. So before we meet, at this time, my sister was living with us, with my grandma. And she was supposed to travel to the village. So I called him the previous night and I'm like, hey, I know I'm supposed to come tomorrow and we had agreed nikuje kitu mchana, but my sister is traveling to the village and I'm supposed to take her to the stage. So unaonaje nikimfikisha stage nikuje tu huko direct to Lang'ata. Akaniambia, hiyo ni sawa. You come, I'll be waiting for you. And I'm like, sawa. The next day I take my sister to the stage. Napanda gari, I make sure she's fine, and then I leave. Nikaenda nikapanda number 15, mimi ndo huyo Lang'ata. I get to the place and I call him. Actually, I called him while I was in town. He did not pick up. I called him again, nikiwa kwa matatu, he did not pick up. I arrive in Lang'ata, I call him, still he doesn't pick up. I call him again, still. I start walking towards the house that he showed me. I go there and I enter the gate. Nikaenda paka kwa floor yenye tulikuwa. Go to the door and I knock. Nothing. Knock. Nothing. Mlango, ukiingiza kamkono hivi ndani, kifuli. And I'm like, kwani yuko? I knock and I knock and I knock and nothing. I call him again. Neighbors wameanza kutoka wanashangaa. Huyu kijana hayuko, ameenda job. Nabaki, okay, sawa. Aliniambia tukutane hapa, maybe anakuja. Okay, because at that point, I'm still thinking he lives there. But kumbe alikuwa amefanya ile ujinga yenye vijana hufanya, ana bro ni aje, kuna mresha anakaa msiuni pati keji yako for a few hours. That's what he had done the first time. So mimi narudi hapo, but that's not where he lives. I continue calling. I don't know how many missed calls he got. So I give him like an hour. I was a patient person, Because right now it cannot be me. I wouldn't do that right now. So I get frustrated after an hour or so and I'm like, okay, let me just go home. On my way, nikienda kushuka stairs, he calls me and he's frantic and he's panicking and he's, aki pole. And I'm like, what? Where are you? Ananiambia, wewe uko wapi? Umeshuka stage? Naambia siko stage, nimekuongoja for an hour. How many missed calls have you gotten? Like, I'm at your place, niko hapa nje na kumefungwa. Ati ya pole, siko huko, nilala kwa uncle yangu. Na I'm like, what? Ati ya toka kuja tukutane huku chini, tukunywe at least hapa breakfast alafu tuende home. Na baki, okay, sawa. So I leave that place and I go to where he is. At a restaurant, there's a restaurant hapo karibu na stage. We go, we enter, and it's like he's known there and stuff. Again, huyu mtu ni mtu ametoka kuamka tu akaosha uso na akatoka. So we eat breakfast. And I remember I don't know, I drank milk and some sausages, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, we left. I think he had tea and samosas. Then we left and went to his uncle's place. This is where he used to live, at his uncle's. So he had lied the first time taking me to his friends, thinking that he was going to impress me with that. he didn't know me enough to know that I'm not impressed by such things easily. Like at the time, says it by the way. Yeah, different things. But at the time, no, because we were kids. Early 20s, you're still a kid. I was living with my grandma. I wouldn't mind it if he was still living with his uncle or parents. I wouldn't care. But somehow he cared enough to lie to me. So we go there and I see this house. It's a good house. It's a beautiful house. The house has no problems, but he himself. So he tries to kiss me again and I'm like, yeah, no. Because I'd spoken to him about nini oral health and stuff na nini. Kama kuna msenilikane kwa gari, amenuka mdomo banzi. Na mi prefer mtu wa brush meno, paka ulimi nini nini. And he goes like, yeah, kuna watu wanakuanga hivyo. Alafu kuna watu kama sisi wenye si lazima tu brush meno. Hey! I was like, Ati? In my mind, I was like, Ati? What did this guy just tell me? He does not brush his teeth. Like, he never brushes his teeth. Oh my God, I felt so disgusted with him. You see those icks I was talking about? This is one of the icks. And I said it before, yeah? I said it. Like, it gave me such an ick, and I was like, no. This cannot be the guy that I've been thinking about since I was a kid. Literally. I'm now 21, and this guy has been on my mind since he transferred while I was 12. Because I had just turned 13 actually. Because it was May and my birthday is in April. So I just turned 13. Since I was 13 and now I'm 21, I've been thinking about this guy and he doesn't brush his teeth. And he's okay with it. Anyway, through talking to him that day, it wasn't just about the oral hygiene. It was also the fact that he had a girlfriend who he told me that day that walikuwa wameachana. Actually, he didn't tell me that day. I asked him later because akinizindikisha back to the stage, we met this guy on the road and he was speaking his tribe, their mother tongue. And I don't understand it. It's not one of the languages I understand. But we are Kenyans. Kuna vile tu ama body language. I'm good at reading body language and just reading people. And the way I read them is that he sort of asked, na huyu ni nani? Because he knows of his girlfriend. And so while we continued walking to the stage after this guy left us, I just asked him, I was like, so you have a girlfriend? And I think after kunikalisha hivyo vyote, he didn't lie. He was like, I used to, but tuliachana, sijui nini, like guys lie. And I was like, yo, so disappointed, very, very disappointed. And I was like, okay, I won't, because hatujaenda mbali, like we haven't done anything that will make me regret or anything. And as I said at the beginning of this, is that I wasn't in love with him or like him to the extent of him breaking my heart. I liked him, yes, but I wasn't like in love with him or so into him that finding out that he had somebody or is with somebody would break my heart. So it was easy to let it go and to move on. And then after that ick, there was just nothing that could turn me back to him. And he lied. I didn't want to start a relationship with lies and stuff. So I was like, yeah, no. Leaving that day, I knew that him and I will never be anything more than just friends. I knew that for a fact. And so that's what happened. And so we kept tabs on each other. We talked. He would be like, Mbono niongeleshi nini nini. He will text me, blah, blah, blah. I'll just text him. If he asked to meet, I never agreed to meet him again until I moved out of home and he came to my first place in Githurai. And at this time, he was going through a lot. He wanted me back. He wanted to have a relationship with me. But then the girlfriend at the time, she got pregnant apparently. So while he was talking to me that he wants me, I think it was after the girlfriend told him that she is pregnant and he was running away from responsibilities. So I had to talk to him and be like, yeah, no, I cannot be the reason a woman is raising a child on her own, having been raised by my grandma because the man who side me didn't want me and everything else. So no, we can't do that. I can't do that. I can't support that. And so he had to go back to her and he was like, oh no, I don't like her like that. We had broken up and I don't know. Nikambi, as long as you said that child, you have to take responsibility. He didn't like that about me or that situation, but he agreed. And now they have 3 little beautiful babies. Okay, not little, because they are all grown right now, because alizaliwa hiyo 2012, so you can imagine how old they are now. And I think waliongeza mwingine, and the lady had another child before him. So yeah, there was all that. But yeah, they have these 3 little children and they love them so much, because I see the photos he posts. We talk every once in a while, but then whenever we do, Mr. Sa, please, hey, he starts telling me how I'm the one who got away and everything. And I always remind him he has a family and that he lied to me. And that's why. Because there's this time, was it this year or last year? He was telling me that I never wanted him. I never gave us a chance. And do not forget that you lied. It was all on you, not on me. And we had a discussion about it until he agreed that he was on the wrong. Because, don't blame me for things that you did. But yeah, so that was my first love. That was my story. It was crazy and it was beautiful when I was a kid. But then as an adult, things had changed. We were grown up. I wanted something different, something that I didn't see growing up. I wanted honesty and I wanted to be able to trust somebody. Even now, like if you break my trust, that is the one thing that is very, very hard for you to recover from me. Like you break my trust and that's it. Every time you do anything, I'll be looking for that little thing. And as I said, I read people's energies and stuff. You lied to me once and I get it and it just can't come back. So there's no way you could have had anything more than friendship. So, but I'm glad for him. I'm happy for him with his family. I think at some point I thought somebody who was the girl was trying to reach out to me during those times. I think alikuwa anataka kuniambia hizo stories anakuja kwa kama mwanamke. But I'd already told him no. And so, yeah, I pushed him towards her and their child, and now they're a family. And I'm happy that I did that. So I think I'll write the second meeting just for me and maybe change a couple of things, because that going to the US and stuff. I can just leave it like that because, maybe I can write the whole story, the real story, or I can just I don't know, I can play around with that idea that I had when I was a kid and, the reality of what happened and stuff. But either way, he's a guy that I respect very much. And yeah, I'll always appreciate him for what he did to me, for me, when I was a kid. Because he might not know it, but he healed something in me that I didn't know that needed healing at the time. So when I was grown enough and I remembered what he did, and yeah, I remembered and I knew that he had played such a huge part in healing some parts of me that I wish they were never broken in the first place. But yeah, such is life, yeah? So that's my story. I'm going to leave it at that. And yeah, comments are welcome. Comment down here. If you hear this, please don't come at me, because you know what I'm saying is true. Okay. And yeah, comment on Insta when it finally comes out. Okay, now today, because it is out. And please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that whenever I upload something new, you'll always be among the first people to come and listen or watch. And yeah, I'll be super, super grateful. Okay, bye bye now. Love you.